Hey, mamas. I sound like Jax and daddies. Welcome. If y'all saw that video on my gram, Jax, welcome back to my channel, y'all. So, guys, let's bring this little intro, getting to know me kind of thing to an end, to a head, not to an end, with how I literally became a mom, aka my birth story.
Mom, I think I'm in labor.
So y'all, by this time, I have moved back home. I left my place. I moved back home with my parents because found out actually this is illegal, but my landlord told me I couldn't live there because I had kids because old people lived in that same building. Anyway, point of the story is at this point I am back home. I have gotten over the fact that I'm having a boy. I've pretty much embraced that whole thing. I am loving on my belly. I'm surrounded by love at home with my family. Um, Things with his dad, I almost said his name. Things with his dad pretty much are getting worse, but I'm really in a space of trying to hone in on positivity. And at this point, I'm really focusing on my birth. Picture it, April 8th, 2016. If you know, you know. um, it's a Friday, 4 a.m. And I'm having these like really dull like period cramps. Oh, if y'all don't like birth stories, come back in 2 weeks because that's what I'm talking about today. So get with it or go home. Um, yeah, I'm having like these dull period cramps, and I had like been to the birth classes. I watched a billion YouTube videos of like not a billion, but like 3 documentaries. Talked to my doula, talked to my mom. So I was like, okay, these like cramps are coming. Is the end of my cycle. So backtrack. So Jackson's due date was April. They had gave me the April 5th and the 6th. One of those was a friend of mine, her birthday. And I love her, but I didn't want my son to come on her birthday. The other date was his auntie's birthday. She cool and all, but I didn't want him to come on her birthday either. So I literally did not move on his due date. I was like, no, I will not move. So ironically enough, on the 8th, I'm like, okay. So, like I said, I had taken the classes, so I'm like, okay, um, I've been getting these cramps for an hour now, and they've been about 15 to 30 seconds long, and they've been coming like every 5 minutes or so, a little longer, but it's been consistently. So I was downstairs in my room, and I called my mom, and I was like, I think I'm in labor, but I don't really know yet. So my mom came downstairs and she was like, okay, well, we're gonna time them. You rest because if you are in labor, which we both knew, like, cause my mom was a godsend. Jenny, Jenny B, I love you, girl. I love you. My mom was a godsend my whole pregnancy. She came to doctor's appointments. She came to birth classes. Every video that I sent her of a woman's vagina, she watched. My mom is it. She lit, y'all. So she came down and she sat in this little chair by my bed, and she was like, just rest, and I'm gonna time your contractions. So it was like 6 o'clock, and she was like, okay, I think we're gonna have a baby today. So I'm like, okay, okay. So I called my son's dad, and he didn't answer. I think I called him like 2 or 3 times, and I'm like, he knows I don't call him like back to back. Like if I call and you don't answer, okay. Like, but I'm calling you back to back to back. I never ever call him back to back to back. Even still to this day, I don't call him back to back to back unless it's an emergency. So I'm calling him, and he can sleep. He gonna sleep through the rapture. Like, this man can sleep through anything. And he didn't answer time. I'm having contractions, and I just managed through the contractions like I'm in labor. See you whenever. Like, see you when you get here. left a message, and I just go back. My mom called the doula and was like, I think we're gonna have a baby. And my dad is amazing. My dad, I went upstairs. I went upstairs and I was like getting ready to take a shower because it's like 6 o'clock in the morning. The sun ain't even up yet. And so I'm like getting ready to take a shower and, make sure I'm all fresh because at the end of the day, my vagina's getting ready to be out and I don't want to stink. And, want to make sure he has an easy time getting through, if you catch my drift. So, my dad is like, did you call his dad? Wow, so you're really like, you're having a baby? And he like made me this parfait because I was like, I need to eat because they ain't gonna let me eat at this hospital, which that is savage and unethical. And so I go back downstairs with my mom and we just keep breathing. Sorry, I thought Jackson's coming upstairs. We just keep breathing and bouncing. And his dad called me. At some point, he had called me. And I was having, like, contractions when he called me. So I don't even remember what he said. He mumbled something. No, he didn't mumble. He said it, but all I could get out was, okay, see you when you get here. And in that time, he called me back. And by the time he got here, it had been like an hour or something. Maybe not an hour. Maybe that's an exaggeration. It had been a long time. He finally gets to my house, and I'm getting pissed. Like, where is he at? I'm in labor with his baby. Where is he? Come to find out, this man done got in an accident on the way to my house while I'm in labor. And because I heard this third voice upstairs. I heard his voice and my dad's voice, and I heard this third voice. And I'm like, well, who the cuss is that? Because I was very specific about who I wanted involved at certain parts of my labor. Y'all, I was not playing. I was not playing. I wanted zen and peace, and I only wanted who I wanted when I wanted them. And so I hear this third voice, and I'm like, well, who the heck is that? So come to find out, it was his homeboy that had like picked him up and brought him there. But I don't know any of this at this time. Like, I didn't know he had been I didn't find out he was in an accident until I want to say maybe the next day or something like that. I didn't find out in that moment. So, and he's on the phone, and I could hear people on the phone, and I'm like, you don't see me having contractions right now? You don't see me trying to birth this baby? And his phone was loud. I was getting so upset. But I managed my peace. I went upstairs, got in the tub. I'm trying to labor at home as long as I possibly can. And I'm talking to my mom, and I ate, but I didn't really eat on my parfait. I really regretted that afterwards because I was starving. So it's like 1 o'clock, 1 o'clock almost. Because I think I got to the hospital at around 1 or 2. And my mom was like, your contractions, at this point, my contractions were coming every 45 seconds. Like, they were like a minute apart, minute 45, let's say under 2 minutes apart. And so my mom was like, should we go to the hospital? But in my birthing class, they were like, 2 minutes apart, and or you won't be able to talk because you'll just be in that much pain. I don't have time to get into this whole like pain and fear-centered birth. But I'm like, they said I wasn't gonna be able to talk. I'm having a full-fledged conversation with my mom. So I'm like, well, Mom, let's just call them because I'm fine. Like, I can do this like another hour. Like, I don't think, and I'm like, I don't feel like going all the way to the hospital for them to send me back home. Like, this is gonna be ridiculous. So I called the hospital, and I'm like, listen, my contractions are like a minute apart, less than a minute apart. They lasting for about a minute at this point. But I can talk. I'm sitting here holding a conversation with my mom. Do I need to come? And she was like she even kind of sound baffled on the phone, was like, I'm having a contraction right now. She's like, you are? Yes. Like, should I come to the hospital or not? Or should I just stay here? Because I don't feel like coming all the way over there and y'all send me home. So she told me to go. And I was like, okay, well, in my mind, I'm like, this is going to be so stupid. They're going to send me back home. And so I had my music in because I had my birthing playlist. God bless my mama, his daddy, and all the midwives that were in that room because I had a lovely playlist. What I ended up playing for the next 20 hours was water, just rain sound. Straight up white noise. So I have my playlist in my ear, and we're in the car. His homeboy is driving us. And I'm like, Lord Jesus, first of all, this is not how I planned it. I planned my mama driving and some other stuff. And shout out to his homeboy, because he got us to from Owens Mills to Towson. It felt like 10 minutes. Because I remember my mom saying, we want to get her there alive. Like, so we get there. I go to triage with my mom, and I'm 7 centimeters. Well, almost 7 centimeters. And she was like, what's your pain? Like, this is a 4. Like, so I gotta stay here. So, and I was adamant. I was like, well, I want the tub, because they only had one tub in my hospital. And I was like, I want that tub. I claimed it. So there was another mother in there. I was like, well, get her out of there. Like, she didn't have the baby, clean her up. She got to go. It's time for me. So I'm in triage, waiting, contracting. And she's measuring my contractions. And she's like, what's your pain? A 4. If I got to tell you a 4 one more time. But my pain tolerance was really high. But I just prepared for this moment. I have been preparing for months. Not to say that people who don't prepare, they don't feel pain, but I just was blessed in this moment. Got into the room with the tub, because I was not playing. And I'm ready. I'm like, okay, these contractions are coming. He should be here by like 6 o'clock tonight, minimum. It was like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Remember, my granddad came in there to pray for me. He thought he was going to joke. And the look that I must have gave him, he changed that joke up real quick, said his little prayer, and left. Like, that's not a game, sir. I was so uncomfortable. I try not to say pain in that moment, but I was in pain. And it was just uncomfortable, and I was so hungry and so tired. And so through this course, I'm trying to shorten it up. Because ironically, my birth story really isn't like that dramatic. In the tub, I'm in my zone. And like, I fully believe in trusting in God and your body to do what it is supposed to do to have a baby. And that's what I did. I was like praying. I remember just like my contractions be coming, and they were getting stronger and stronger. And I was like, I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. I can do all things through Christ. Like, I was feeling it, y'all. And I look up, and the worst thing they could do is have a clock in front of my tub. And then when I'm in the bed, it's a clock over the tub. So the bed is right in front of me. The bed and the tub are in front of each other. So no matter where I look, there's a clock. I'm like laying in the bed. One of the midwives, she was new, and I had requested not to have any students, but she was new. So that's how they got her in there. And I'm like, oh God, I gotta poop. That's maybe too much. She was like, no, it's probably just the baby's head. Don't push. Don't push. I'm like, sis, I have to poop. I need to go to the toilet. She's like, no, 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 no. I just dropped to the floor. Like, I was like leaning on the bed. I had been trying like different positions. I just dropped, and I pushed, and I pooped right there on that floor. My midwife, offered to break my water. And she was like, I'll break your water. Your contractions will start, they'll be more intense, but you're almost, I think I was like 10 centimeters. When I got to the hospital, I was 6 centimeters, almost 7 centimeters, 100% effective. So at this point, they literally just needed me to dilate to 10 centimeters so that I could go into the pushing phase of labor, because I was already in active labor. And so I was like, just break it, because I'm tired. Like, I am tired, and I'm ready to go to bed, and I'm hungry. And so I remember just like laying in the bed after my little pooping expedition, and I was like, I need to push. And the new girl, don't push. And I'm like, this is completely going against what my body is telling me to do. So my actual midwife came in, and she's like, just push. Because I'm like, she told me I couldn't push. And she's like, just push. If you feel like you have to push, push. And I pushed. All right, let's speed the story up, right? So I'm like, throughout all of this, I'm like trying different positions. I'm like crawling on the floor, hands and knees. I'm swaying, I'm dancing. I bit his father because I just like, we were like in this like swaying position, and it's just the only thing I could do to help. I like fussed him out a couple of times because he was like trying to be involved, trying to help, and he was like putting too much pressure on my back. It was causing me pain because most of my contractions were in my back, not my stomach. And the midwives, they were like, you know, some of the moms actually like when you just do like a gentle rub. I was like, exactly, a gentle rub. Like, I don't know if I said it out loud, but I know I said it in my mind, like gently. So finally, I'm back in the tub. And I'm like, I had went through the transition phase, which is like you kind of like have this lull where like your labor hasn't stopped, but you're not, your contractions are kind of like taking a break because you just did all this work, and you are literally in a transition where you're getting ready to go from, okay, contracting to dilate and getting the baby's head down to, okay, baby is there, and you're transitioning into the pushing phase to get baby out. So I was in my transition phase, and I'm in the water, and I'm like pushing a couple of pushes. Anytime I felt like I needed to push, I just pushed. And I reached down and I feel his hair. And I was like, I feel the baby's head. And she's like, no, you probably just have to poop again, you know, wait. I'm like, no, this baby's head is coming. So I leaned back in the tub, legs cocked up, and I reached down, and she's like, oh, the baby's head. Get Paula, get Paula. Paula's my midwife. I'm like, I told you. And I just start pushing. I'm like, listen, Paula made it in that room just in time, because part of me is thinking, Paula, hurry up and come. And the other part of me is thinking, girl, get this baby out. Like, he is ready. And I'm pushing, and I remember thinking like, oh God, here she is. Thank God now I can really, like, I'm in the zone. His dad is here next to me outside of the tub. My mom is standing at the end with her phone. Baby girl swore she wasn't going to be at that end. She didn't want to see my cooch. And I just remember like feeling he has a knot on the back of his head. And I just felt it, and it felt like a bee sting. And I was like, oh Lord Jesus. But it really wasn't in pain. I just was in this state of calmness of like, I have a job to do. And also like, oh my God, I'm really having a baby. Like, he's coming right now. And I just remember like feeling that knot, and I was like, okay, something is, I need her help. Like I was like, Paula, help me. And what I really was saying was like, get this baby out of me. I don't think I can do this. Like, I don't know what I was thinking. I'm tired. And she just like reached her hand down, gave me a little pull to help get his head out. So his head is out. And she's like, okay, just because I didn't want to be coached like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, push. Like, but she's like, okay, just give me like one good push. One good push. Well, what felt like one good push to me. I don't know, everybody else might have thought it was 2 pushes, but here came my baby. And it was like, he was here. And I did it. And they laid him on top of my chest. And the umbilical cord was wrapped around his neck. So he was blue. And I didn't want them to cut the umbilical cord until I wanted to delay the cord clamping because I wanted the placenta blood to keep research, y'all. And they were like wrapping it, and they were like, okay, we gotta take him. And I was like, what the freak do y'all mean y'all have to take my baby? And they cut the cord, and I was like, no, I want his dad to cut the cord. I want it to stop pulsating. And I was like holding on to him for dear life. Like, they had to like tell me like, Janelle, you have to let him go. He's blue. And they like pulled my hands off of him because I was like, why are y'all taking my baby? This is not in my birth plan. Like, the plan. And I just remember going like, mommy, I did it, mommy, I did it in that moment. And then they took him away, and I was like, why isn't my baby crying? Why isn't my baby crying? And my mom and my midwife were like distracting me from the fact that my child is not breathing. And they're like, oh, let's just get you out of the tub and get you in the bed, and let's try to get the placenta out. And meanwhile, I'm like, he's not crying. Why isn't my baby crying? Like, I didn't do all of this for my baby to not be crying. So I'm getting so emotional. And then I hear this little like piglet wham, like, and he was here, and he was crying, and he was beautiful. And they gave him to, he wasn't beautiful. He was so ugly. He was so ugly. Like, I was like, wow, we got to get this look together. I give babies like 3 months to get their look together. But they handed him to me and he was pale. And I remember looking at him like, this white baby is not mine. Like, and he had fiery red hair. And I'm thinking like, okay, nobody left. So how is this my child? Like, but in like his cone head, it's just anyway. So they handed it to me, and the first thing I said, I was like, "Can you help me breastfeed?" And like, y'all, I am all about breastfeeding and natural childbirth. So what I didn't know was all this time, my grandparents had been in the waiting room, and since 1 o'clock. So I was like, oh, because he was going to like get his grandmother. He was like, she's tired. I'm like, no shade. She tired. She ain't done nothing. I just did all the work. But so I was like, you know what? Just go get them, let them come in. And then I found out my uncle, who was supposed to be overseas, I think he was going to London, was there. And he came in, and I was just like, what do you mean he's here? So he came in. He was the first person other than myself to hold my son, take a picture with him, and gave him right back because he literally had to leave. He came from Virginia to Baltimore and then left to go to the airport. And then I found out like people were coming in and telling me like so and so and so and so and so and so. Y'all, my whole family was out there all this time. Like my aunt came in with my cousin. They came all the way from Virginia. And I just remember when she came in, I was so happy to know that everybody loved me so much and loved him so much that they were waiting. And when she came in, like our birthdays are a day apart, like I started crying because I was just like, I cannot believe they were there. My grandparents, his dad's family was out there. And I was just surrounded by love and people who cared. So that is my like non-climactic birth story, but that is how I literally became a mom. So yeah, I brought my baby in the world surrounded by love and light and people who cared about me and cared about him. And that was just the beginning of this long journey that I was getting ready to embark upon with him and his dad. And so, yeah, this is the beginning of transparent motherhood. Like I said, it wasn't something I just like thought of randomly. Like this had been something I had been thinking about while I was pregnant, but I was just too afraid to do it. Because it's a lot to talk about, and I had a lot of questions that I didn't get answers to. So this is where we're gonna start. Like I'm gonna share the ups, the downs, but a big part of how I became a blah blah blah. Becoming a mother really taught me a lot about myself that I needed to work on. But what it did more than anything was bring me back to the feet of Jesus. Like my relationship is like with my relationship with God is like it is because of Jackson. And so I try to parent that way openly and bring everything to God because I can't do this by myself. So join me, y'all. Join me on this crazy motherhood journey. Single mamahood, for now.
I don't know what we should do. All I know is, darling, I was made for love.